First of all, I'd like to welcome all staff. I know all of us have so much to do today. It's been a really long week and a really long Friday, and I know we had to cancel Friday detention so that we could have everyone on board, but it's really, really, really important that we're all here today. So I really just want to start by thanking you. And sometimes after a long week, we have to remember why we actually chose this job. It's not for the few dollars that we make, but for the difference that we make and for the celebrations that are had. So I want to be really transparent by starting with the objective and why we are all here today and what our goals are in the next 60 minutes. Since we only have 60 minutes together, we want to make sure it's really effective. Our objective today is that all team members, so all people on our dream team, are able to walk away and implement at least one of 3 techniques for enhancing student engagement at our school. It takes all hands on deck for us to make this happen. Our student engagement has to be a priority for everyone. We can't sit here and think that's someone else's job, that's not my job. We have to come together, and that's why I need us all to be on the same page. Our agenda, just briefly, we're going to start with celebrations because that's where we need to keep our heads at. Go through our CEO walk data. I know this is something that it's one of our most anticipated PDs because people always want to know, what did people think? What did people think? We work so hard at our craft that we want to know, what do people think of us? So I'm going to give you the data that you're asking for. We're going to do a little bit of professional reading so we can keep ourselves up on what are best practices and make sure that we're doing them. We're going to work in collaborative groups so that we have members from different stripes on our campus working on a team to help the student engagement at our school. We as a team are going to choose 3 that we want to commit to. We're going to practice and then we're going to close and move on to the rest of our activities for today. So let's start with celebrations. Think of this week. Take 15 seconds in your head because that's all it'll take to think of something wonderful that happened. Think of something that you want to celebrate, whether it was in your classroom or one of your students, that happened this week that you want to celebrate. Meredith, what would you like to celebrate?
I would like to celebrate that we've been working really hard with Kalen and his grades, and this 4th quarter is really taken seriously, and even through making it through the progress reports, he has all A's and B's.
Such a celebration. Let's celebrate Kaylin. Good. Can I get 2 more celebrations for the week? Because I know we have 100. Well, let's hear another one. Tucker?
Yeah, I would really like to celebrate. I've been working hard to get a parent up to partner with Kendall, and she was finally able to come up, and I've just seen such a difference in his behavior. So I'm glad that she came up.
You were able to celebrate
Mm-hmm.
instead of not. And Heather, do you have any celebrations for your week?
Yeah, I saw a teacher who was really cold calling and had such enthusiasm. Students wanted to answer questions, and that was so inspiring to see.
Awesome. So now that we are remembering the good things, because sometimes that's hard on Fridays, we also need to remember that when we look at data, we are so critical because we are teachers and this is our craft and it is very personal to us. But we are professionals just like the Blackhawks. And even though we are professionals, we have to practice. We have to look at video. We have coaches. And even if our coaches can't do it any better than we do, they are somebody who watch us and help us grow as professionals. So it is not to bring us down. And sometimes the data isn't pretty and it's not what we want to see. But as professionals, that is what we have to do if we want to get to the top. And that's where we're headed. So with that in mind, I'd like for you each to take a look at the CEO data just as it is, raw. So remember, you're looking at from fall of last year to the end of last year, and then to the fall of this year. So this is what just happened, what you've been asking me about. I want you to first think of and jot down in your notes on your PD slide there, 2 to 3 successes. Let's look at the successes first because they're there. Does someone have a success to share?
it's great that the improvement in 2012-13 from the 25 to 93 in the classroom culture, and then looking at the fall, starting off the year at 88, I think is a celebration.
It's huge. Starting in the fall at 88 is more than a celebration. That's a hot place to be. Why don't we all turn to our elbow partner and share two more in the next minute.
I think this is also impressive that the meticulous planning started off even higher.
That means they're probably only like I don't know the teachers like
You've seen positive that people might not notice at first glance.
I don't know, we were just kind of impressed with the meticulous planning, and 94 is very high, and this is only a couple teachers.
Right, and that's what we were last year. I mean, at the end of the year, but still to be above that, this is usually where we shine, and to already be ahead. So maybe you could share that when we share out, but people may not notice it.
Alright, sounds good.
Okay, so let's hear from some more. We hear from enough. All right. Now, as we know, since we all read Good to Great, one of the only things you have to do, one of the many things you have to do to go from good to great, is to face the brutal facts, right? So a couple people just pointed out some really positive things, but let's figure out where our weakness is and turn it into our strength. So that's why I brought all of us here today, and this is the quote I just said: we must face the brutal facts in our situation before we can improve it. If we blind ourselves to it and we only focus on the positives, we will never succeed. Last year, so this is just kind of it's not a perspectives issue, it's not our campus issue, it's a real issue that the Gallup organization reported that a survey of 500,000 students showed that student engagement plummets every year a child continues in school. And for us to be 6 through 12 school or 9 through 12 school, that's really scary. By the end of high school, only 4 of 10 students are fully engaged. We are not going to get the maximum from our student achievement if we fall into this same statistic. So, let's stop and think about the brutal facts, and let's think about why. Why are our students not engaged? And this is something that wasn't recorded on the CEO walk last year, but you'll notice that this year we're only at a 53%, which is scary. So I want you to turn and talk. Actually, let's take a minute first to think independently, and then let's talk with each other about why is this happening. We cannot improve it if we don't figure out the why. Does anyone have any ideas on why this might be happening?
I just looking at the data, and I know we had only said to look at the climate, but sometimes I think engagement goes down if you're not differentiating for students, and since we have a low differentiating, maybe our engagement right now is lower because of that boredom component, or it's too hard.
So if I'm only reaching a fourth of my class, then can you blame the other 3/4 for not being engaged? So, I'm gonna record that here. Any other ideas on why this might be happening?
I think it's hard to tell. I think there are a lot of outside factors that contribute, just inconsistencies in general, whether it's from classroom to classroom or from the messages sent to them in school and outside of school. It's complicated.
So there's some inconsistency,
Mhm.
and we have some outside factors coming into play. All right, so our goal today, as you can see, is going to be taking our student engagement and taking it to a grow area, we're growing it. We're going to start by reading some professional text, and then we're going to start working in groups to figure out what we can do based on some more pointed data. So first, I'm going to have you read this independently.